Yeah. As I got another rhyme, another rhythm for y'all to listen. I'm never quitting on my mission. I'ma roll with what I'm giving. Got some ambition, this new edition, filling positions. Looking at the void in myself and feeling what's missing. Better watch the way you going, better go in the right direction. In the moment you stressing, but you gon' be counting blessings. And I know that for certain. Keep on working, open curtains, haters swerving, cause they ain't ready for your final version. Whoa. I'm never gonna give up. Fall down, I just gotta get up, yeah. Cause this is my road.
You're listening to the Tom Ficklin Show on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio.
Good morning, and happy Friday to all. We welcome you to the Real Talk. It's a Tom Ficklin Show. I first always like to thank my buddy Tom Ficklin, who allows me to do this once a month, the first Friday of every month. And we try to make sure that we have pertinent topics that are pertinent to our people and the community. So today, our title of the Real Talk Show is Education is the Key to Success. And I have the privilege to introduce to you Miss Arden Santana, who's going to give us a brief overview of her academy that she runs. And we'll get into this topic about education and how important it is in our local community. Miss Arden Santana, you can introduce yourself and tell the public what it is that you do on a regular basis.
Good. Happy Grand Rising, everybody. As you heard, my name is Arden, and I am the founder of Sage Academy. At some point, I'll try to change it in the name over here and add it. But Sage Academy is an independent or non-public school that was originally founded to serve students virtually in my homes of Maryland, Philadelphia, and Connecticut. Pre-COVID, and COVID was the impetus for us just being able to expand and serve families beyond the North region area of the state, of the country rather, and the potential to go international, right? Because that's what virtual has done for us, just opened up the world. But now I'm back in New Haven, Connecticut, which is my hometown, where Sage Academy is available for ages 6 to 11-year-old on site, in person, in New Haven, no farther than the Hamden line. By the middle of August, we will have confirmed our school home, our schoolhouse for the 2022-23 academic year. And overall, Sage Academy is focused on civics. Civics is one of the pillars of literacy for us. Civic literacy, we feel, is equal in importance to the nation's health, to the nation's growth as reading, writing, and math. So that's a little bit about Sage Academy.
Yeah, that's great. And so just kind of explain how long the program's been going and, some of the goals that you have. And is there anything that the community can help, maybe some fundraising and some other things that, may help with the program?
Absolutely. Thank you for that question. Like I said, we're non-public, so that means we're tuition-based. And we are seeking grants, but we're always looking for sponsors and donors who are willing to give to the academy so that parents, families who want to have some sort of educational alternative outside of traditional school settings can be able to experience Sage Academy. So we welcome the donations to be able to fund that and be able to say yes to a parent who can't but wants to. What do we have going on? Enrollment is happening now. We are actually halfway at full capacity. So this is our second year. We officially opened our doors to the world in 2019. So we're in our second year where we, again, have live online classes, but we're scaling a little bit to accommodate the demand among a target market of homeschoolers, people who already homeschool, or to accommodate that group of people who have caused the number of homeschoolers who are already doing so to rise because of what we learned through COVID, because people are just realizing there's another alternative if they're not content with the traditional settings for whatever reason. So that's allowed us to expand to accommodate those families in a way who want to curate their educational experience. So we're digitizing our curriculum. so that self-paced classes will be available for homeschoolers who prefer that. They want to be able to learn, when they're traveling. They have a different sort of lifestyle that's usually in alignment with their businesses, entrepreneurship, more flexibility with the way the parents work and that sort of thing. But our traditional school students could benefit because maybe they need a supplement. Maybe they benefit better from being able to take a self-paced course online that's different than what the traditional structure is offering. So that's coming in the fall. And right now we're enrolling for the Youth Academy, which has 6 available positions to hopefully get one.
Okay. So now, as I just kind of recall, you did mention about the COVID period that we went through. As I kind of recall, a lot of students in the public schools didn't do well when it went from being in the class to being online and keeping up with the grade requirements and the work requirements. So just talk a little bit about what do you see as kind of the difference with the academy specializes, and how does that also tie in with what state requirements that you still have to adhere to as an academy for learning for youth?
Wonderful. Well, great questions, Maurice. So and repeat the first part for me. I just want to repeat the first
Well, the part was I'm just was remembering that a lot of the students really suffered when we were remote and they weren't in the daily class. So how could that kind of compare to the specialties that you kind of do at the academy, and how does that relate to the state requirements for what the academy has to produce?
Okay, so I'll start with the back end. So the state requirements for what the academy is, so let me start with saying that Connecticut is one of the most lenient states for homeschool. All who's been enrolled in the system has to do is submit a letter of intent and remove their child, and you can homeschool, right? So, and then what that looks like for families is totally different. The parent is responsible for what it is the curriculum that they deliver to their child. But at the end of the day, how that curriculum is delivered, the methodology, the pedagogy, the external resources and supports that are available vary. So Sage Academy can be one of those. And as a non-public school, again, it's very lenient. So the expectations I have for Sage Academy is, I think, equivalent, if not above par, to what the current, I got to be candid because I'm very careful in this, and it's been a concern of mine since I've returned. I'm educated in New Haven Public Schools, born and raised here. And I've taught in New Haven Public Schools, as well as schools in Maryland, Prince George's County Public Schools. So I've seen the system from the inside as a teacher under No Child Left Behind policy. And I've experienced it as a student. I've experienced it as a parent. So what contributed to the downfall, not to be careful with your words here, the challenges, the learning loss, right, that children experience through COVID. It had more to do, in my opinion, in my educated opinion, expert opinion, is with the districts not providing teachers the appropriate training to be able to accommodate the virtual learning. The virtual learning is not the issue. The issue is how to do it, how to engage the students, how to make sure that they're, my market research includes the students. I'm not just talking to parents. I want to know what students want. What did they hate about COVID? What do they like about online? Are there preferences? And I had a young lady tell me the other day, senior in high school, she's like, I would fall asleep sometimes because the teachers were just sitting talking at us. And one of the critical things about a good teacher or a good classroom and good teaching and learning has to do with classroom management first and foremost. It doesn't matter what the curriculum is. You can't deliver it if the classroom's out of control. So if teachers are struggling with classroom management in person, imagine being thrown into a situation where you have to do that virtually and you haven't had the training to do that. So how does Sage counter that? We make it fun. We make it engaging. We partner with other platforms and other service providers to use learning tools that students love, and that's what we do. And our teachers, And as far as the standard to match the state, all of our curriculum is based on the standards, the state standards. So we look to that as a guide to know what children have to learn at each stage of their development. And for me, that aligns better with age than it does grade. Age is how we develop, by the number of years our brain is taking to, be able to do the things it needs to do cognitively and in terms of motor skills and all of those things. So you'll notice me refer to age more than I do grades. And then we're meeting the child where they are, making sure that the learning is student directed. And we're pulling out of them what they want to learn, not top down, teaching at them what it is we think they need to know.
So what would be your encouragement to a parent who's on the borderline of wanting to go to Sage Academy versus staying in the public school system?
What would be my opinion? What would be my advice?
It would be your 2-minute elevator speech to that parent.
Elevator speech means you want the professional version. I'm not sure I would have an elevator speech. I'm going to respond to the question that the parent has. Mm-hmm. And honestly, Maurice, I sit here mulling over how to answer that question. If you're not satisfied, whether it be because of mandates, restrictions, bullying, discrimination, mediocre, teaching quality, pull them. And education, freedom is not free. So education is an investment, right? You get out what you put in. If the system is not doing what you need it to do, then we as a people have to be comfortable and prepared to step out of the system and do something different. So I would encourage them to really, it all starts at home, evaluate what the needs are of your household. What is the long-term goal for your family? The buzzword now is generational wealth and, healing and these types of things. So how are you doing it? And it begins with educating your children. We have to educate our children and ourselves. Even as adults, some of us are at deficits in the areas that matter. So assess your household. What are the goals in terms of your values? What are your civic goals? All right. And that's where Sage Academy makes the difference, because once you can read and write and do basic arithmetic, you can do whatever it is that you want to do in the world. And no matter what it is you're doing in the world, you're engaging civically. So if you're not proficient in that skill set, which less than 25% of our nation's 8th graders are proficient, right? And then that's not assessed when they reach 12th grade and graduating into the world, as the school mission statements say, they're supposed to be productive citizens and contribute to society and, be model citizens and these types of things. But we're not even assessing their civic literacy skill at 12th grade when it's time for them to begin to do that. So let's learn how to engage civically, because everything you do is civic engagement, from working, getting your driver's license, calling the city hall to get the trash picked up on your street. You're in commerce every day, buying, we're consumers. It's all civic engagement. And we have to learn the processes that are working in the system, period. We're not, you're not going to change it. We're not going to overthrow it. It's not, it's that narrative even has to change.
So now, as the title of the show is Education is the Key to Success, let's talk a little bit about this prison pipeline, because I learned this a few years ago and it was very shocking to me. I was at an NAACP general meeting and we had a special invited guest. And she actually founded Reads New Haven. And rest in peace, she has passed since then. So she explained to us that they prepare prison beds and facilities based on individuals not on the third grade reading level. So can you speak to that? And I know we have on the news and we're seeing press conferences the other day about how bad the reading levels are in the New Haven public schools. And one thing I do is, I always tell people on my show that I don't, whether it's a department, whether it's a city situation or whatever it is, I don't want to speak to be negative, but we're speaking to try to correct and rally support around this important topic of our young people being educated, because we know that is going to open the doors to success for them as they are educated. So how do we kind of talk about this prison pipeline with so many of our young people not reading on the grade level that they should be reading on?
Let me tell you, Maurice, this conversation is so rich, and it's rich because we're going to keep it authentic. We have to begin to talk the reality and the truth about what is. And this is important to me, again, because I want New Haven public schools particularly to know that I'm an ally and not a competitor, because I have interests in the New Haven public school system still, because I have friends and family whose children are still in these schools. So I want to partner with New Haven public schools to address that very issue, the reading deficits. So as far as you already stated the statistics, that's true. So the bottom line is we have to address it. And I actually sat in on a meeting with the city in May, who was addressing, the literacy practices in the system and so on and so forth. And there is a solution on the table by a company called Literacy How that's produced a reading curriculum that's based off of research by the Haskins Lab, which is actually a lab here in New Haven, an independent research lab that's been here in New Haven since, I think, 1970 or something like that. And it was viable. I sat in, like I said, I'm new back, so I'm figuring out who's who and what's what and what's going on. And another issue, and why we have the platform to say it, folks are not being notified of what's happening at the time it's happening, where their voices can be heard. So I'm sitting in this meeting where there is a proposal on the table for a new curriculum to address the reading problem. Way underattended, okay? And it seemed to be from the representative for the school system some resistance to the change. And that's I want to meet with her and and just sort of have a dialogue with her about did I misinterpret? Is there resistance and why? And just I'm keeping abreast of what's happening with that, because as I listen to the presentation, it's a viable program. And it's something that we should absolutely consider, which incorporates reaching the children at a younger age and looking at the science of how we learn how to read. And it's beyond phonetics and just being able to read off the page. You have to comprehend. You have to be able to think critically. So even a curriculum overhaul is necessary. A whole curriculum overhaul is necessary. And I tell people you can't expect the structure that has wanted to keep you oppressed to take initiative in wanting to liberate us. So parents have to be mindful. We have to decide, for ourselves, what is it that I want for myself and my children, and then I have a solution for that as well. So this year I'm implementing a parenting training curriculum by a curriculum called Raising Highly Capable Kids, and this is how do you create caring, kind, capable children so that based on research, their GPAs go up. They're less likely to enter the prison pipeline. They're less likely to turn to, substances and addiction and the less favorable behaviors and make better choices. And it starts with the parents. It starts with the household. So we spend a lot of time getting on the school system, getting on the children. It's time to get at the parents. The parents have to be accountable. Go to the PTDs, get involved, go to the school, see what's going on. If your children are in the school, you should be, especially if they're in a traditional setting. Parents need to be there, paying attention, checking up on the teachers, checking up on the classes, organizing, if not a part of the PTA, and having expectations about what their child should know.
You bring me to a point where talking about community engagement and even going deeper, talking about parental engagement. These numbers may be old, but I know they're probably not that far off, is that they were 12% of parent involvement in the PTAs. So the thought of that is, how do we stimulate parents to be more involved in the day-to-day activity and learning of their youth? It's very hard and it's very difficult. I know for some parents, we have a lot of single parents where there's one mom, where she's taking care of the kids. She's probably working 2 jobs to make sure that the ends meet from that end, from the financial end. But there's going to be a lag off and a fall off in the participation with the child and watching their educational development. So one of the things, as I know, you're involved with the CEDP, the Community Economic Development Partnership, and I heard that you're the education chair. And so the thought to me, and that I want our listeners to really hone in and get this point is, you said it and you reminded me, it's almost like a bank account. I was talking to a young gentleman the other day. You can't put $50 in the bank and withdraw $100. It's going to come up insufficient funds. So we can't just expect our kids to naturally be good readers, be good in arithmetic. I always talk to my daughter about reading comprehension. After you read that paragraph, after you read that chapter, after you read that book, what did it mean? What was the meaning of what was being said? I think it's not that we don't always have children that can't just naturally read the words. I think we struggle sometimes with the comprehension and the application of the knowledge that is read in the passages. And so how does the Sage Academy help the student to hone in on that comprehension part and how important that comprehension part is?
I would interview with you anytime. So comprehension, or reading comprehension, you gave a great place to start from this, the application of the passage. How is the passage, how is the reading material relevant to the child? That's the first piece of it. And comprehension and critical thinking is not a monolithic skill and concept. It is directly, it's relative to the subject area that one is studying. The critical thinking skills needed in math are different from the critical thinking skills needed in science or history or law. So it's subject specific. And then even as adults, we're only interested in what we're interested in, and we're only going to apply what is relevant to us. So first off, again, curriculum overhaul. What is it that we're teaching these children? And what Sage Academy strives to do, again, I said this, the students direct the curriculum, their interests, we assess the family's overall goals. Entrepreneurship is a huge component of what we're teaching children, and the financial literacy skills that go around all of life. The curriculum is chosen based on, and curriculum is basically what's taught, just so I like to make sure people are in the same context when we're speaking. So your curriculum is what is taught. That's balanced. There's so much we can teach. All right. But we want to draw from the student to determine what it is of interest to them. And how you teach those skills, it depends on the subject area that's being taught. It depends on the subject matter that's being taught. And then the purpose, establishing the purpose for learning, and let that come from the students. I think that's more, that produces application, a real world application scenario easier than, again, the way the current system is structured. This is what you have to know by 6th, 7th, 8th grade. Here's here's our textbooks. And we know about the textbooks. We don't even have time to get into that, right? So what are teachers doing now? Like, where are we with the textbook conversation? They don't want critical race theory. It's out there now that the textbooks have been altered, not to tell the truth. So what's happening? What's the curriculum right now? What's being taught? So here at Sage, we have full control over that. We have control over what our students learn, and we make sure that it's relevant to them and their families' generational wealth building plan.
So I have to bring up this old saying, and we're always trying to combat it, but they always said, if you want to hide something from a Black person, put it in a book.
Put it in a book. Absolutely.
So how do you encourage people to read more?
Well, so I guess in school you have to, but for my children, I model it. You read. The parent has to be reading. Have books around the home. We're not buying the right things. You know what I mean? I bet you your cable subscription is on fleek, if that's the way they say it anymore.
And about $220 to $250 a month.
Yeah. Okay. And then you'll wait in lines. You'll wait in line. I couldn't wait to get somewhere in public to say this. You waiting in line for $500 sneakers, but you can't afford Sage Academy. And then you yelling at the child when they ain't walking right or gonna scuff them up because they didn't appreciate it the moment you walked them out the store. And what value do they bring? So that goes into this false sense of the false sense of value we have in the things we have, in order to feel that we have made it or that we are equal, to the other. And we really just have to, change our mindset, our mentality around what's important, So modeling is it. Modeling and having the expectation. It could be a magazine, it could be books. Like the library is free. It's free. You can go check out up to 30 books, I think, at a time for 2 weeks. So we have to model it. We have to expect it. It has to be the norm. I'm not saying don't watch your reality shows. That's what I do when I need to woosah. I watch something mindless because otherwise that stuff is boring as hell to me. I'd rather read a book. I can't even show. This is sitting next to me. This is just right here where I sit every day. Not to mention the piles and piles that I got to get out of storage so I can set them up between the house and the new school room. So
making it a daily routine, making it habitual. Yes. I always like to give a shout out to my dear friend Diane Brown over at Stetson Library. We always have this joke of, I always see her, I said natural resources, making the library a natural place that you visit. You might don't have to go every day, but you may go once a week or every other week. Like you said, take out a couple of books and read them. And even probably test yourself. What did I learn from that? Write down the notes of what I thought that meant and apply. Did it have any real world application, a daily application for me? So we're about half.
Did I like it and why? Now you're writing a review. Did you like what you read? So even from that, you're getting different writing styles in your repertoire, and it's all based on choice. You get to choose your content.
You brought up an interesting point, and I guess it's where I want to weigh because I've always struggled with it. You talk about materialism, and then you're talking about the weight versus education. And we're having this big debate now also that, education is key to success. Go off to college, get a degree. You come back to your local neighborhood or your local community, and you have this huge debt. And now you're trying to find a job that not only can help you sustain regular daily life activities, but how are you going to pay this debt? You have this $100,000 debt. You have a master's degree now, but you're working at a job that pays you $75,000 on the paper. But we all know that comes out to about $45,000 in actual cash that comes to you. but you owe 100,000. So what do you do to the naysayer says, oh man, that education isn't that important. I know doctors that graduated from Yale is working at McDonald's. They couldn't even find a job. How do you keep those individuals saying education is still the key to success?
Because it's true. And the question is the source. What's the source of the education? It's not college anymore. We want to keep it 100, as the kids say. YouTube university. This is the information age we're living in. So knowledge and information is available everywhere and anywhere. And the colleges now have to pivot and do something differently to accommodate these millennials who are saying, we don't need your college. They're opening businesses. They're family people, they're entrepreneurs. Their families have businesses. So this is what people are doing now. And that skill set is something you could learn from, certifications, a training, a mentor. So education is the key, but you have to pursue it. And it's different for everyone. I don't think college is a necessity for everyone. If my children want to go, that is going to be their choice. But I'm building a legacy so that they will have the choice to make. They can work for the family businesses. They can go off and do something on their own. They can go to college if they want. That would be a choice, but they'll be given a foundation to be able to have that as an option. That's being able to have those options. And I'll tell a quick story about my own experience with college and loans. Again, Maurice, it all boils down to choice. My first year of college was at Howard University, HBCU. So proud of that. Did I finish there? No. Have I had, felt some kind of way sometimes over that? Absolutely. Wondering, okay, how would life have been different if I would have got to finish up the HBCU and all these things? But I was first generation college with very little support around my college career. And there wasn't pressure to go, it was innate. It was something I wanted. But the second year would have begun to cost me a lot of money to stay there. I transferred back home to Southern Connecticut State University, ended up owing $3,000 and never had student loans over my head. And I have since gained a master's degree and am on my way to pursue a JD. But that's what I want. That's what I'm interested in. I'm an intellect. I love being in academia. I love dialogue and discourse and research, digging around out of curiosity, like Zora Neale Hurston said research is. So it's based on the interest. Meanwhile, I have daughters who are very artsy. They want to act and draw. And I need to let them do that. Otherwise, I'm going to kill their gift and dream. They came here to do something that I can't. Those families who, your great grandfather went to this college and, we're all engineers. And meanwhile, the person's miserable because they're not living their reality.
Education, the key to the success, as we're learning, there's many different facets to it. One of them that you're helping me to understand is that will and that desire to learn. So on that topic, we see what's going on in our local communities. How do you feel we can I like to use this word, edutainment. How can we make it exciting for you to learn? Because one thing that I learned at an early age is wisdom is the application of accurate knowledge.
Right.
And most of the times, even I look at myself and I laugh because, I have the gray beard now. One day I was walking into a store and the young gentleman said, hey, OG, did you dye your beard like that? And I just started laughing and I said to him, if you live long enough, you'll get a chance for your beard to be the same color. And he laughed and I hope he kind of understood what I meant. But the thought is, you become wiser as you get older if you apply accurate knowledge that you're able to obtain. So how do we, in this millennial time, with young people who are very excited about a lot of stuff that has to do with entertainment, how can we turn some of that into edutainment to where they're also learning while they're able to enjoy themselves?
Yeah, so Sage Academy calls that combining ancient skills with modern tools. And recognizing that every culture has tools of that culture, right? And the tools of the culture is technology and the internet. So gaming, So we have to incorporate that into the learning program, you know, um, teach coding, show them how to make the game, not play the game. And now you make money off of building the game, creating. So that's it. Incorporating, art was something else that was taken out of the curriculum, with the changes in the education policy. So restoring the arts, as a bedrock of knowledge acquisition, and reaching all learning styles. Learn by example. We have to be examples of the way to live. People spend a lot of time talking at children. This is what you got to do. You need to do this, do that. Well, are you doing it? Are you showing them the way? And I think, I don't know, would you say, was it fun? You've attended a Talk Tuesday as I heard you were I heard you're a sponsor. I heard the CEVP is a sponsor of the Elements Talk Tuesdays event. That's what I heard. And I think you came by to see if we were utilizing those funds appropriately.
Oh, definitely.
Can you say that the Elements or Abundance are creating exemplary, fun, engaging experiences where people can learn a lot?
Yes, definitely. But what I struggled with when I was in school was the mix of being nerdy, or as the young people like to have terminology, I was a straight A and B student, and being lit. So how do you be able to be both? How do you be able to be that person that's dead serious about their class work and making sure that they get good grades? I never forget, my dad always told me that a C is average and that a young Black man can't be average to make it. So I never would try to ever get a C on my report card. Now you have kids that say, oh, well, I passed. That was good. I passed. I passed a 72. I passed. And I think we're missing it. A mentor of mine always said, why settle for good when great exists? And so how do we get our children to continue to be on that path of greatness and understanding that this education is going to be the key to their success? And I like how you put it, because it may not be you going to college. It takes a lot of brains and smarts to run a business. So you may go into the business field. My niece went to college and now she's going to she's a great makeup artist, and she's starting to learn how to make money, and she's doing her own thing. And some people might say, well, she went to college. Why did she kind of waste that education? She didn't waste it. She's doing what she loves to do and she's making money. So how do we do that blend of saying, yeah, you know what, I'm kind of smart. I got my head on the right shoulder and all that, but I'm lit too. What's
right.
that? What's that proper?
We just be. I think, my husband would say be a cool nerd. That's what he was labeled. He was labeled a cool nerd. I was that cool nerd and didn't know it then. No one told me, but now all my peers as adults be like, I find out how much I was admired and, crushes and all these things that nobody brought up when we was in school. I think, again, storytelling. I think storytelling is an art that we need to bring back. So just sharing and dialogue and telling our stories, because there's young people are looking up to us, not realizing we're as old as we are. They think we're cool. So they have to hear our stories about how well we did in school, how corny people called us corny, but we did things and we were good in school, and, we were part of the popular groups in some areas, some kind of way. I mean, I know I was connected with everyone. So the way I am now, I'm not cliquish. I don't need to be in the group, in the organization. I'm connected with everybody, So I think maybe just finding ways to include the children. My husband and I were talking recently about how we were that generation of, go somewhere. The adults are in the room, go somewhere, go in your room.
Right.
Don't be. No,
don't play in the living room.
I think we need to reverse that, though. I think especially our generation, we're networking, we're being entrepreneurs, we're building, we're developing community economic development programs. So our children and their peers and any other ones we can get to want to be around us should be present when we're having these meetings, having these conversations. Find ways to socialize where it's okay for the children to be around. Again, the adults adults are almost selfish. We're almost selfish sometimes. We're too busy wanting to make sure we can say what we want to say out of our mouth, drink what we want to drink, smoke what we want to smoke, and the kids be somewhere, go somewhere. So what are they going to do?
It's funny that you said that, because this morning I was looking at something on social media, and I guess it was from some preschool kids, and they asked them to draw your mom's favorite hobby.
Mm.
And then the little girl basically drew, she said, my mom likes to drink. And she draws a little picture of her mom sitting at a table, and you see the drink. And I put up there, I said, just keep in mind that children are going to go by what they see, not always by what you say. So this, you can see it was an elementary child by the drawing, but you could see that one thing that was clear is that they saw on several and many occasions the mom drinking. And, the same way we set precedent in anything else, we have to set the precedent of what our child is going to learn.
Absolutely.
And so our encouragement to those out there, we know it's tough, trying to provide for children, but the education values that you have to rub off on your child. And you have to be the leader in making sure that, hey, it's going to turn the TV off. You've been watching for about an hour. Why don't you read a book for another hour before you go to bed? We have to set some type of precedence or some type of standards that's going to encourage our kids to understand that. For me, even to this day at 50 years old, learning is fun for me. When I learn something new, I'm excited. I smile. I'm happy because I didn't know that. And I sit there and I'd be like, wow, because sometimes you got to, well, I thought I knew, that or I didn't. And it's fun to learn. So how do we encourage those kids to understand, listen, there's a whole big world out here that you need to learn about, and you need to find your niche of what's going to help this education be a key for your success, and encourage them along that. So we're getting up on about 10 minutes left. So I'm going to divide it up 5 and 5. 5, I want you to give another pitch for being a part of Sage Academy, the importance of Sage Academy, and how it can make a difference in your kid's life. And then the last 5, just a little bit more on hearing that journey for you of being able to learn to take your education serious.
Nice. Okay. So thank you. The Sage Academy is important for learners, lifelong learners. So that means from 6 and up, 6 to 60 and plus, we have something to offer. The offering is going to be founded on the 4 pillars of literacy, which are reading, writing, math, and civics. And that means social studies, right? So social studies and language arts, I feel, are the strongest areas that we have to master, because it's the expression. It's learning from the past, Sankofa, an African, I think Adinkra from the Akan language, Sankofa, going to the past to fetch what was good so we can learn and not repeat. And then we need the language to be able to express that and to communicate it and to apply it, right? And then to apply it. So Sage wants to fill the gaps and fill the gaps in where education is not delivering what is necessary for success. And we are an option. We're an education alternative for those institutions, organizations, or systems that are not educating children in a way where they're going to be purposeful and successful. We are non-public. We want to maintain our independence and to be able to control the narrative and curriculum for our students, our members. So we seek donations, we seek gifts, we seek sponsorship. Okay, I need our community to say yes to someone who can't say yes. We have 6 spots available for our youth academy, which is, that's my focus right now for Sage. I've shifted from online, where I thought I was still in that space where I preferred working with high school and older, to these babies who give me all the feels. And that I want to pour everything we can into them. Okay. And there's 6 spaces available for you all to help us feel and reach our capacity of full enrollment for the fall. The website is the name you see next to mine, sageacademy.com, www.sageacademy.com. I invite you to explore the website, book a 30-minute interview with me just to ask questions, talk. If you're new to homeschooling, you can get, consult about, what resources you can use or any questions you have. I'm a resource. I'm a resource for anything education. We also have our own online private community, and I'm inviting my community to come in and use that space. My children are not on social media, but they have their own social media platform through the academy. So I'm inviting the community to, come. It's study hall. It's study hall online. We have a game room. We have a gift shop. You can buy, Sage paraphernalia for upcoming gifts and things like that. So we have to support each other. We have to support each other. Obviously, we're Black owned, woman owned, family run and operated and owned. So, let's put our money where our health is. And it starts with education.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Just want be conscious of this is an election year, so you're seeing all the commercials up for the election, all the different candidates for so many different positions throughout our state. Please make a small PSA to our candidates about the importance of them stressing and putting money behind education.
Civic engagement at its finest. Absolutely. This is my public announcement. Whether you are Democratic, Republican, Independent, education is nonpartisan. Okay, you've taken an oath to be impartial and do what is necessary for people to have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And folks can't do that without a proper and just education.
Appreciate it. Wow, that sounds great. So we got about 3 minutes left. And so what we're going to do now with these last 3 minutes is we're going to also once again explain that Ms. Santana is the education chair for the CEDP, which stands for Community Economic Development Plan, which is out of Dixwell in the New Hallville area, where we're trying to empower all our residents in that 2 parts of the city, but of course to expand throughout the whole city, a need to be a part of the change in your community that's going to affect each resident. So these are the individuals that we assemble as a group to lead and be able to touch on such strong importance of things like education, economic development, health, and many other topics. So as you start to float through our town and our wonderful town of New Haven, which I'm so proud of. Yes, we do have some challenges that we have to continue to face, but this is home sweet home. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I don't even want to consider it an interview because before we came on, I wanted to silence her nerves of just saying, hey, Arden, you're just going to be talking to a dear friend and a conversation and a dialogue, just that many other people can hear it. And so once again, I also like to thank Tom Ficklin again. He gives me this opportunity the first of every month. And so if anybody has any particular topics that you want to get in touch with me with, you have some special guests that you feel would be great on the show for us to talk about this first Friday of every month, which I call Real Talk, because we want to talk about the real issues and we want to present it to people in a real way to let them know that we are being conscious of what's going on in our community. And as we continue to try to get that village back that we lost for so many years, it is going to take people like Arden Santana and others to be a part of this village that helps to raise our young people to understand that education is the key to success. So once again, I would like to thank you so much, Arden, for being here today. May the rest of the viewers and individuals that are part of this program today enjoy a beautiful weekend. Stay hydrated. It's warm out there. Remember that education is the key to success, and find your niche and help not only yourself as older individuals in our community, but make sure we pay that attention to our young people and make sure they're being steered in the direction of always putting their education first. So with that, we'd like to say everyone have a blessed Friday, and we look forward to seeing you next month on the Tom Ficklin Show, Real Talk.
As I got another rhyme, another rhythm for y'all to listen. I'm never quitting on my mission. I'ma roll with what I'm giving. Got some ambition, this new edition, filling positions. Looking at the void in myself and feeling what's missing. Better watch the way you going, better go in the right direction. In the moment you stressing, but you gon' be counting blessings. And I know that for certain. Keep on working, open curtains, haters swerving, cause they ain't ready for your final version. Whoa. I'm never gonna give up, give up.
Oh my God, did he just put the web? Thank you.
Yeah, everything went well. Thank you very, very much. Enjoy your day. We'll be talking soon.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.